to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, powered by FC Cincinnati supporters. Get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at cincysoccertalk@spnt.tv. Now, here is your host, Nick Suberlane.
Hey, what's happening, FC Cincinnati fans? Another episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk coming at you. Big show this week. We keep lining them up for you. Got a big show, none other than Kenney Walker, midfielder from FC Cincinnati, going to join us this week. Talk about his season so far. Talk about the massive game coming up Wednesday night in the U.S. Open Cup as FC Cincinnati plays host to the Columbus Crew. Yes, hell is real, and it is happening Wednesday night at Nippert Stadium. Make sure you get in touch. If you're watching us live, we're reading comments on Facebook and YouTube. You can tweet us at Cincy Soccer Talk on the Twitter, or better yet, you can call us on the Kings Hammer hotline, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. You can also email us feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Of course, Monday night was the big town hall at the Woodward Theater. FC Cincinnati unveiled their stadium renderings for what appears to be a stadium on the other side of the river, which we will, I'm sure, debate tonight here on this very show. I am Nick Strubling, pleased to be with you. Of course, I'm pleased to be joined by my main man, Yosef Segar. Yosef's wearing two hats this week because he has, we'll just say he has been a Crew supporter in the past, but I don't know. I think I'm going to question his allegiances tonight. What's going on, Yosef? How you been, buddy?
Doing well, Nick. I mean, the good news for me is I'm the only one who has a guaranteed W coming out of this match. So,
Shame.
You can shame me all you want. I'm, much like other topics that we'll be discussing tonight, whether it be the stadium or the match. I'm pretty chill, so I'm pretty laid back about it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's two of my favorite teams playing. So, a team I grew up watching, and obviously the team I've been following to a T since they came into existence. So,
interesting thoughts there. I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit more this week here on the podcast. Good to have you back. We're also glad to have back Brian Weigel. Brian, what's going on, buddy? Uh-oh. Looks like the hangout has frozen. Oh, that's always good. Thanks, Google, for cooperating with us tonight. Technical difficulties to start the show. Not sure what's happening. Oh, looks like we finally might have everybody back. Are you there, Bri? No, Brian's frozen pretty good. Are you there, Yosef?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, fine.
Wow. Good start to the show tonight. Brian is frozen hardcore. Now he's back in. Now he's here. Bri, what's going on, buddy?
I have no idea what Google gremlins are going on here. I don't know how much of that you caught, but
caught none of it.
Oh, okay,
Sent
good.
It to you and then a whole lot of nothing.
Super disappointed that you didn't catch any of that, but super excited for this game on Wednesday night. FC Cincinnati versus Cruisers SC United Poser Town 10,000 people match game. So yeah, let's go.
I'm sure it was the best take you've ever had, whatever it is that you said here on the show, but glad to have you back. By the way, you did a great job this week on March to Match Day with, was it Pat Murphy from the Massive Report? I really enjoyed that podcast this week.
Pat and Yo-Yo Yosef.
That's right. Yeah, you did a good job. If you missed March to Match Day, make sure you check it out over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. It's on our 5 Things to Know article previewing the Crew match. And, of course, if you're subscribed to the podcast, which all of you listening are, you will always get that automatically downloaded to your device. It was a good show, so check it out. March to Match Day with Pat Murphy from the Massive Report. Before we can visit with Kenney Walker and touch upon the stadium renderings and everything that went down yesterday for FC Cincinnati, there is a matter of the 1-1 draw over the weekend against the Charlotte Independents. More points dropped at home, gentlemen. Not the result I think we were all kind of hoping for when you considered all of the squad rotation that happened the week before in Rochester. So I'll start with you, Bri. The 1-1 draw against Charlotte, not a good result.
Well, I guess the only thing that did come away positive from this match is that someone besides one of our forwards scored. So throw out to Justin Hoyt there, USL team of the week with his great opportunity. I just think it was more of the same, more disappointment, more not getting it done. But how many times I actually got to sit on a different side of the stadium besides the Bailey. How many times did you see our guys, like all season, drive down to the end line, look for somebody in the middle, and nobody's there? We were looking at the heat map this week from the match, and it would be you please check it out right now. It's amazing how many times or how many instances like Kenney Walker, Kenney Walker, Bone, and Quinn were right next to each other, and it was really difficult to get a lot of space. And then the other part is, how many times did you see Jimmy McLaughlin drive hard to the end and have to kick it back to Hoyt or back to the center midfielder just because there's nobody running? So a little bit, I think we're getting a little stale offensively right now. So hopefully we can address that.
What do you think, Yo? I mean, this is Charlotte team that I personally thought was very beatable. This is a game at home that you want to rack up 3 points at home as much as you can. But again, here we are. It's another home match with points dropped. And FC Cincinnati now is a team. I wouldn't say it's crunch time yet, but these are important points that they need to start racking it up, because right now they're a borderline playoff team.
I think we're going to look back on this down the line in the season and be kind of upset with ourselves. With soccer, I always want to say, hey, I'm okay with tying on the road, even to teams who we should beat, but I'm not okay with tying at home to teams that we need to beat and need to get those points up. So we're going to come back and hopefully be in a playoff spot. But this is going to be one of the matches we look back on and say, this is why we don't have a home playoff match, if that's the case. I'm not predicting that, but those are points dropped that we really, really needed. And Charlotte's right in our wheelhouse as far as points per game. I know they had a few less games played than us and were lower in the standings because of that. But the squad really needs to get all the hype and all the talking we do about the fan presence at Nippert. We need more points at home. That's what's going to be able to save us. We started the season on the road due to Nippert being kind of renovated, and that was something I held in the back of my mind as a saying, well, we have all of these backlogged home games, and so that'll become an advantage for us down the line, and it's really not coming to fruition. So with the match coming up this week, I was really hoping between Rochester and Charleston being sandwiched in between those two matches, which are tough matches, that we can get more out of it than we did, and we didn't. So,
yeah, it was disappointing to see these guys struggle for a draw. They did fight back, which is good. They tied it just before half. Again, we mentioned Hoyt with the beautiful goal. Finally, somebody other than our forward scoring a goal, as Brian mentioned. A really well taken a 1-2 there. It was refreshing to see. We've kind of been waiting for that from our outside backs, even all of last year. I don't really recall our outside backs getting that far up the field and into the 18 like they did on Saturday.
Well, yeah, and I think that's been part of the press that they've been doing, both with Boehner, and it's when you have someone as talented as Justin Hoyt just across the board as far as his overall, carrying of soccer skills. I'm glad that we're pushing up. It seems like we've had a lot of good service come in from those backs. It leaves us a little exposed defensively, but I mean, it was brought up as a concern, as Brian alluded to, that we have problems getting anybody else but our number 9 to score, whether it be Koenig or Gibby. So at least the expanding of the play is okay, but we need more goals to come from somewhere. Hopefully they all work in conjunction with one another at some time, and we put a couple on the back of the net to get a W.
Well, I'm interested to see how this is going to work, because Brad, he's here and then he's not here, and then Brad might be having some technical issues.
Hey, I'm here. I'm just working on the video now. I know y'all want to see the best looking Weigel, so we had this all set to go, and something fell through.
Yeah, I would, if you can't, go back to that old camera, because right now we're not getting any video from you.
You do the show. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. Well, like I said
He's
last
a little
week,
upset.
yeah. Again, like I said last week when we had Griff on the show, there's not an episode that goes by where we don't have technical issues, right? That's just the way it goes sometimes. But we do our best to bring you the show live each and every Tuesday night on Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll work on getting Brad involved in this week's show. Well, really excited to be joined now on the King's Hammer Hotline by the one and only Kenney Walker, midfielder from FC Cincinnati. He joins us now on the phone. Kenney, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you on. I'm sorry it took us almost 70 episodes to get you on the podcast, but we're really excited to have you on. I know you got to be excited this week with the Crew coming to town. This has to be a big game for you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always great to play against the higher level clubs and actually to get a chance to play an MLS team and it actually means something rather than playing in preseason is something special.
Now, how's been the mood of the locker room over the past week or several days going into this match?
I mean, it's a little bit ups and downs with the results that we've been having. Obviously, not the greatest result over the weekend. I mean, you got to take it how it comes, but everyone's been trying not to look over some of the other games and looking forward to this one. But everybody's definitely excited and ready to play this one and see how they can, I guess, compare themselves to some of these MLS players and potentially a win and go home or a win and stay or lose and go home. So,
Kenny, nice to have you on. Thanks for coming on. I think it's funny that we got, the two people who've worn the captain's armbands most often back-to-back episodes. But I wanted to ask you, we missed you a lot early in the season. I think the team really missed your presence on the field. But it's great to have you back. And how are you feeling after your early season injury?
I'm getting there. I'm still working on the fitness and all that stuff. It's going to take time to get back to where I was. And I think me personally, mentally, just being able to kind of not get frustrated with being where I am now and not comparing to where I was before I got injured is a bit of a challenge, but it's something that I got to work through and maybe change the style or the way that I'm playing to accommodate to not being as fit as I was previously. But, I mean, spirits are high. It's going to be a lot of hard work. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but I'd like to get back out there to my normal self and start the trend of putting some results to back to back to back.
Kenny, you're one of the few guys on. You're one of the few guys on the roster that's actually from Ohio. Were you a Crew fan growing up?
Not particularly. I guess I didn't start playing soccer until I was 7. I actually played baseball growing up, and I was a huge Indians fan and wanted to be Kenny Lofton in center field when the Tribe was good back in the day. But I actually didn't start playing until I was 7, and then watched a lot of EPL soccer growing up, and a big Manchester United fan, watching Beckham and that crew.
Kenny, you're all right in my book then. I'm a huge United fan.
Okay. Yeah, but I just got attached to Beckham. I mean, it's hard not to watch that team in that era play. So I didn't watch too much MLS, and then to be quite honest, it wasn't on TV as much, and I didn't know too much about MLS at that time. So I was just watching what I could get, and just turned out to be one of the better leagues across the world. So.
Now, have you or any of the team been following, I guess, the passion of the fans on social media about this upcoming match? Have you enjoyed any of the banter going on or seen any of the banter?
Me personally, I haven't. I'm kind of somewhat detached from social media just because it's a bit of a distraction for me, but at the same time, I just don't like being glued to my cell phone. So I kind of like to enjoy and get away from technology as much as I can. but I have heard some of the stuff going through everybody else's Twitters and all that stuff. And I know the city's pumped for it, and the players and the staff and even the front office people are just as excited as the fans for this game. And it's going to mean a whole lot more to, I think, the city than it will the players at first. But I think in the grand scheme of things, when players look back at this game, it doesn't matter what the result is. If we go on and play another MLS team, that's great. But having the Crew in the stadium playing at Nippert is going to be, I think, another kind of monumental game for the club and for the city.
Now, Kenny, as an Ohio resident, I think we've all driven down or up I-71 and seen the lovely reminder of a billboard that hell is indeed real. Now, you haven't been on social media, but I wanted to get your take because I know it's been referred to as the Ohio Derby, but I want to get your take on the name that kind of the supporters groups and fan culture, both here in Columbus, have garnered for this this Derby Cup matchup, whatever you like to call it.
Yeah, I guess I only just heard it the other day, and only one I've heard has been the Ohio Derby, and I guess it's all new for the club and for the Crew as well. I mean, no one's been this close to them besides maybe Chicago in the professional environment. So it's new, and I guess that's the only thing that I've heard as well as the Ohio Derby. But it could potentially turn into something that's really great and something that's sought after, almost like the Cascadia Cup in MLS and a couple other derbies that go on that are very close in proximity. But I think it'll be something special if down the road it does turn into an MLS franchise, and this is a rivalry kind of started before both of the clubs were in MLS.
You know, Kenny, this is Brad, and I want you to go into a little bit more about rivalries and what not just this game means, but how rivalry, do you feel rivalries, especially with being in as close proximity to Columbus, and then we also have the one with Louisville, what do they mean to the players? I mean, we know what they mean to the fans. What do they mean to the players inside that locker room?
Yeah, it's more about, I think, self-pride for the players. I mean, obviously everybody's professionals and you're working to get championships and that at the end of the day, but when you step in between the lines and you're matched up against a team that may be better than you just because of the league they play in or just on paper that they're better than you, but at the end of the day, if you could prove yourself saying that you're a player, I'm a player, and have that respect and don't put them on a pedestal when you step in between the lines. And I think that's the way you need to handle derbies, but there's always that extra little bit of passion or fire there just before the game even starts. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. Like last year was the Louisville game. Like we never played Louisville, but there was that atmosphere of anticipation because of how close we were that it was going to be a derby or a heated match. And it just slowly turned into that. And now, a year down the road, it's probably one of our most competitive games, or if not, might not be the prettiest at times, but it's probably one of the games that we see on the calendar. And that's one that that you're circling, that we want 3 points every time at our place and at their place.
Now, is there a certain player from the Crew that you're looking for to maybe play the most, or maybe one that you've played against that you'd look to play against again this week?
There's a player when I was out in LA that we played together for a little bit, Hector Jimenez. He's playing outside back for him now. I mean, it's always good to play with your friends, but it's also fun to play against your friends in a meaningful game. And I mean, this is a do or die game, so I mean, you always have the respect for him. But yeah, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, and it would be good to actually see him and potentially play against him tomorrow night. And you always have the aspirations of playing against teams' best players. So, I mean, for some reason, if they do suit up, they're big 5-6 guys, and it'll be interesting to see how you can stack up to them and compare yourself and see where you're at, or if not, play better than them or outplay them and see maybe you open your eyes and you can actually see yourself playing at a higher level than where you're at now. And all it takes is 90 minutes, and that's pretty much what you play for every day. So,
well, if you haven't been able to tell, this match means a lot to the local community, and we do have some filmmakers in the area that I have a feeling once they see Kenney Walker score the winning goal tomorrow, they're going to make a video and a movie about you. So my question is, who plays Kenney Walker in the Kenney Walker saga movie? Is it Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? We know you got some muscle to you.
I don't know. I think it would have to be somebody that is, I feel like, maybe a little bit on the same size as my stature, or maybe not as big as The Rock, but maybe, I don't know, maybe Jamie Foxx or somebody like that, or maybe Denzel Washington. I mean, he can't be too bad. So,
hey man, you move pretty good. I mean, we I'm sure we could find somebody out there that could at least give you good justice.
So, Kenny, something that a lot of fans, including myself, have thought about when we see that lineup get dropped, it's often 3 men in the midfield, usually yourself with a variety of Aiden Quinn, Corbin Bone, Daryl Fordyce. I wanted to know, is there a specific role that you play, the 3 midfielders that traditionally play, in regards to who's more of a defensive role, who's more of an attacking role, if someone plays left to right more often? Is that the case? Is there something set in place, or is it more of a free-flowing formation?
I guess it's hard to, when they put it up on the TV screens or you guys see it on social media, it's kind of hard to exactly place where in that triangle, or if it's 2 or even a diamond, where me, Corbs, Daryl, or if it's even Wiedemann in there, Quinny, where we're going to be playing. Because at times we'll play with 2 defensive midfielders where potentially me or Quinny or me or Corbin is sitting down in front of the back 4 with only 1 attacking player above us. And then at other times, it might be 2 attacking players and 1 guy sitting, but it all depends on who the opponent is and what we need, I guess, out of the midfield in that game. So the times we might only be playing against 2 midfielders in the middle, so you can press the second midfielder or the third midfielder up and have more of an attacking presence when the ball turns over in transition. But it's also free-flowing at the same time. So, like, say, if Quinny's a holding guy and he gets sucked out, and then me, Corbin, or Daryl, or Wida can circulate and make sure that hole is filled defensively, always in front of the back 4, so we have that coverage. But it's a little bit of a balancing act, but everybody's decently comfortable playing in all of the spots if you get interchanged and everybody knows the role of each position, so it's not like it's set in stone where you have to be here on the left or you have to be here on the right, or sitting or attacking, defending. So it's a little bit of mix of everything. You just kind of have to read the game and see what the opponent puts out as well, because that'll change everything. If a completely different formation steps out on the field when they show up to play you, then you're going to have to change it on the fly. It might come from Alan on the sideline, or you got to figure it out on the fly with the players around you. So it's somewhat of a guessing game, but we have a starting point, and then you got to just go from there when the game comes.
We're hanging out with Kenney Walker, midfielder from FC Cincinnati, here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. And Kenny, obviously a lot of attention, and rightly so, coming up against the Crew, this big matchup coming up Wednesday night. But let's talk about the USL season as a whole. How do you feel it's going? Because right now, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like maybe the form at home it isn't going as great or as well as you or the rest of the squad had hoped this year. Obviously, a lot of excitement with the Crew game, but you've got also another big game on the weekend coming up against Charleston. How does that affect things as far as preparation goes?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we have to obviously take a look at, and the coaching staff does a great job with managing the players and minutes and all that stuff, and who's fit, who's not fit, and injuries. So, I mean, it's going to be a great game on Wednesday, but at the same time, we want to win the game, but as well, we have to look forward, and I guess the bigger picture is potentially Saturday's game, and then after that, I mean, we have a little bit of a break, but not until the next Saturday. But if you're forcing too many minutes on guys on Wednesday to push for that game there, then you might be sacrificing points at home again in a league match, which is also a tricky balancing act because you're not just going to send anybody out there to play on Wednesday against a Crew because A, you want to win the game, B, you actually want to put on a good performance and put your best players out there that you see fit. But yeah, for the form at home this year, it's still a building process. I know we're a year and a half in from the first time we got together as a club and players and stuff, but it's almost a whole new learning curve this year compared to last year with new players coming in, new style of play, different demands on players from the coaching staff and all that stuff, different demand from each other, like holding each other to a higher standard of what we're doing out on the field. So everyone's still learning, and I think it's still coming together, but I think when it does come together, hopefully it does soon, then the home games will be a lot more entertaining for the fans and whatnot, and then a lot more easier for us to play at home and actually use the field from last year.
Now, we had goalkeeper Mitch Hildebrand on the show, and he quoted that you are the hardest shot that he faces on a given day at practice. I want to know, A, if that's true, and B, if there's anybody challenging you for that title this year.
I don't know. I know I can strike the ball well. I've never seen my shot coming at me, so I can't really judge it. So, but I would say somebody that can hit the ball very well is probably Harrison. I mean, you're not going to see it too much shooting on target unless he gets a breakthrough and all that stuff. But Harrison can strike the ball very well, and then Jibby as well. So I think I have a little bit of competition, but I'm not too sure. I mean, if Mitch says so, I guess I might have the hardest shot, but there's definitely some competition out there.
Well, we'll get you out of here on this question, Kenny, because this is a question we ask pretty much every FC Cincinnati player that comes on the show. And you're an Ohio guy, so I don't know how much of a chance you've had a chance to enjoy the fine cuisine that is Skyline Chili, but have you had it? And if you've had it, are you a big fan?
Yes, I have had it. I actually had it once as a younger kid. I think I was maybe 13 or 14 and had it back then, and then haven't had it since, and then recently had it, I think, late last year. And I think I was a fan earlier, but now I think from getting a little bit more experienced in different types of foods and all that stuff, it's not my favorite.
It's not exactly healthy.
Yeah, that doesn't help either, but it's better than going to like a normal fast food place, that's for sure. But yeah, I actually do a lot of cooking at home, so I think I'd prefer to make my own chili and potential coney dogs if I could.
Well, we'll get you out here on this question as well. Big game tomorrow night. Do you have a message to anybody sitting in the Bailey, all the fans that are going to be coming out tomorrow night. What do you want to say to those who are listening and will be supporting you Wednesday night?
Just that we really support what you guys do and what you guys bring to our game, and we wouldn't be playing on the field if it wasn't for them. So we really appreciate everything that you do, and you guys do create the atmosphere and environment of what we have here as a club and a culture, and it's something special that across USL and MLS, it's probably one of the best atmospheres you can play in, and we appreciate all of that, and we hope to see you guys loud and in effect on Wednesday, and I know you guys will be there in full force, but we do appreciate everything you guys do. I know we try and do our best to get out, sign autographs and all that stuff, but it really doesn't do justice for what you guys bring to us on the field and how you guys impact us. And just want to say thanks and keep going, and can't wait to see you guys out there.
Well, we appreciate you for all your hard work and getting healthy again and getting back out on the field for FC Cincinnati. And of course, for joining us here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. And we're looking forward to having you on again real soon, Kenny. Thanks again.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Kenney Walker joining us on the King's Hammer Hotline. Good to hear from him and get his thoughts on a big match coming up this week against the Columbus Crew. And, of course, obviously with Charleston coming to town over the weekend. Lots and lots to discuss, though, FC Cincinnati fans. If you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you get in touch. Boston's waiting to take your call on the King's Hammer Hotline, 513-399-KICK. Jason Colliver on Facebook says, the Crew like Gold Star. Dang.
Boom. Mic drop. Love it.
Yeah, that was good. Good interview, Kenny. Glad to have him on. It's interesting that balance between playing in the Open Cup against a big, what we assume will be a rival going forward, obviously. At the same time, managing you need to start racking up points in the USL. I mean, that really should be the focus. I think maybe if this wasn't the Crew on Wednesday night, maybe it wouldn't be as exciting. But still, they've got to start creeping back up the Eastern Conference standings there in the USL, which Charleston coming to town is no easy feat. So, again, we've got phone lines open, 513-399-KICK. So, Brad, you've joined us now. Glad to have you. You're settled in. Let's talk about the big news coming out Monday night. You were there for the event. The stadium renderings unveiled down at the Woodward Theater. Were you excited? Were you pumped? Like, what's your initial thought?
Going into it, I wasn't expecting too much. Honestly, I think there's still a lot more. I felt there was a lot up in the air just to get any of the three sites on board. But after the night, I'm excited. You know, when you look at these stadium renderings, you have to keep in mind they're the first go. It's very early. Things can, will, and do change. But I'm very optimistic, more optimistic, I would say, about us landing an MLS franchise than I was before. I know when they started to announce the three sites and they brought up the Newport site, there were a lot of boos and jeering, and I think that some of the guys on stage felt that. But then I think as the night went on, they went to talk about how they could control the site, and there was a lot high expectation that could be a spot that could be our future home. I think most people turned very positive and kind of coalesced around it and feel the same way as I do. So very positive night. And I really look forward to see how it develops over the next, I would say 4 to 5 months.
So you were there. And one of the bigger news items from that event that came out was the MLS application itself. And the fact that they kind of, they talked about it. They said that they used Newport, Kentucky as the city for the application. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think you have to look at the practicality of the initial application. We had 6 weeks to compile all of our resources to submit as our initial bid to MLS. And within that, Jeff Birding really emphasized how, I'm talking specifically about the Ovation Newport site, how that's controlled by Corprex, and that's something that we can develop immediately. Yes, we all love Nippert, but MLS thinks it's key that you need to have that soccer-specific stadium. So he really talked about using that site, and going forward, it's still up in the air, but within OTR and Oakley, but how he was able to go in and talk about the different assets around town, the Fortune 500 companies. He really talked about bringing Dayton into our media market, being 21st in the nation, which is up there. So there were a lot of positives, and I just think he was very straightforward and honest to let us know as supporters what we can do to help advance this proposal going forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had a lot of friends really chime in and talk about the Newport location and people that aren't happy with it. And we've seen it on social media. It's really kind of split amongst the fan base. We did
Brian Weigel.
Yeah, we did a Twitter poll this week. Out of 539 votes, 33% voted for the West End, 29% voted for Newport, and 19% for Oakley, and then 19% said don't care, MLS or bust. So you have a split fan base.
I was going to say one thing I wanted to talk about the OTR site, and I apologize for jumping in. I think that if this application was in 2018 or later, that would probably be the site. But unfortunately, and Jeff Birding mentioned this, we need to do this quickly. We need to do this now. And that's what makes that the biggest problem between Oakley and Newport. Your difficulty with the OTR sites, you have, I'm going to say 50 or more properties with individual owners that this club has to go to purchase and get value. And these people are going to try to get value themselves. When you sell your house, you want to get as much as you can. You don't really have empathy for the person buying your house. You want to, bring in as much money as possible. So that's a real strong difficulty in that West End site versus some of the other sites, even though I don't think they're giving up on this, but I know that they are very aware of the difficulties financially and diplomatically with the political leaders around town with that OTR West End site. All right, I have something here, is something that Jeff Birding said yesterday, and I think most people out there know I was a big Ohio Stadium fan, but I embrace the necessity if we have to go to Newport. My question is he's all about we're the smallest market size, but hey, if you include Dayton, we jump to 21st. Can you really claim Dayton, even though it's, if we build in Newport, can you really claim Dayton? I know it's only like a 300, 400 yard distance, going across the river, but I just feel to me that it's, you can't have both things in that situation. I just feel it's a lot more of an effort for somebody to drive down from Dayton or perception based to get to go across the Ohio River for those people.
You kind of stole my thunder there, bro. I was going to say the same exact thing.
Okay, so I get, so you make a very valid point. But do you think that this club is going to try to bring in the Dayton community? I personally think they do. I know that it's 45 minutes away, but I think it's all about the effort that you put into your surrounding area that will bring these people into the community, watch our team. And overall, if you want to see a high level of soccer, a 45-minute drive is a lot more manageable than a 2-hour drive. So I know we talk about how the crew sometimes take our city for granted. I feel that the leadership of this club, I think we've seen it with attendance. I think we've seen it with community outreach. But yes, you're right. It is on them to make sure that we bring Dayton and that surrounding community into the fold. Well, it can go both ways, because you can also then really tailor a little bit more towards the Kentucky community as well, including Lexington and Louisville, two large population centers within an 1.5-hour drive.
Well, Louisville isn't going to care about.
I wouldn't be too sure about that just yet.
You really think that Louisville would care about an MLS team in Cincinnati? You think they would support that? Because I don't see that.
If there are MLS 2 team, boom! Dude, can you imagine us? Can you imagine us being like, "Hey, Coopers, thanks for the stadium. Thanks for buying us the stadium. Thanks for buying us the stadium."
Joseph, I know you want to hop in there, so
Sorry.
please do.
Twins killing you.
Well, I understand. So if you want to take it at an aesthetics level of not taking Dayton as far as a metropolitan area, if it's in Kentucky, I mean, we said it off the air. Alex Veer, our staff photographer, even brought it up. I would regularly park in Newport to go to Reds games because it's cheaper and easier. I don't think that going across the river makes a difference. If you want to make a difference as far as counting the people in the area, that's fine. But I think a lot of it has to do with the TV rights. And I don't think the fact that a stadium being across the river is going to stop somebody from Dayton from watching, because if they're going to be watching, regardless, they're not going to be going to the match. That all being said, I think a lot of it comes down to, like you said, the political infrastructure around this. That's going to be a highly debated topic in the mayoral elections. But you can't have your cake and eat it too and say, I want a stadium. And I'm not saying this is a blanket statement, but there are a lot of people out there who are unhappy despite whatever money that, the ownership is willing to put up. If there's anything put onto the public, whether it be a tax extension, additional taxes, I'm not really here to speculate specifically, but if there's public money involved, people are upset, but they get upset that we're willing to go to a place where it's probably going to cost less public money to develop, as far as at least getting the land, and they're more willing to pay the taxes. So are you, that's my question to people. And I want to, qualify that by saying there are a lot of people willing to put their hard-earned portions of their paycheck towards those tax dollars. But there are people who are upset at the prospect of it going to Nippert, and then at the same time upset about the prospect of having to pay taxes on a stadium in Cincinnati. So which do you want is my question. But I don't think it makes as big of a deal. I think it's going to be whatever we need to get this stadium built. And Newport is obviously seeming like the easiest option at this point, but things are going to change, like you said, Brad.
I want the option that we can get 50% plus one, whatever works. If it's any of those three sites, whatever site that we can get this done sooner rather than later, that's the one I want.
Well, let me ask you this question, and because I do want to actually talk about the design itself, because it looks like a beautiful stadium. But one of my friends, good friend from Cincinnati, phoned me recently to ask questions about this, because he was hearing the same things about the stadium being in Newport. Obviously, with Ohio, you have the smoking ban indoors. In Kentucky, they don't have that. Do you consider that to be an issue? Because that was one of the first things he brought up to me, is he's not going to go to the bars down there because he doesn't like the smoking environment, which then kind of diminishes. Now, again, granted, this is one person, but that could potentially diminish the fan support that are attending the bars down there. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've been in Newport, down on the levee for quite a while, probably when I first started dating my wife many, many years ago. But do you see that playing a factor at all?
I feel like that's problem number 842 on my list right now.
Sure.
Of things to care about. But I don't know. I mean, you'll find you'll gravitate, places will adapt, and they'll find ways to bring people in. So I think you'll be able to find a spot regardless.
Let's talk about the design. Beautiful design. You can see the renderings over at our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. I was blown away. You were there in person, Brad. You had to be very excited. What was your favorite part of the design from what you saw?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that the part of the design that stands out most is the Allianz Stadium style canopy. So if you don't recognize that name, I'm talking about the Bayern Munich style stadium, the canopy that they're talking about that covers the seats. So yeah, that is very that's intriguing to me, especially how they can display the different colors around the city. I like the part that is open, so you can actually see the city. But was Bill Wolf asked was, how can we make the Bailey bigger, better? And I think that that's a very, very important aspect of the stadium. They're going to try to do a safe seating if possible, if the code allows, but they really want to put us in a position. He mentioned the designer mentioned, behind the goals to really make a noticeable home side that makes an impact on the pitch. So I think that's the most important part. And then what they do afterwards is open for debate. I mean,
Right.
what do you guys like in stadiums? Hell, I love the fact that they can change the colors of the stadium to match my damn hair. That's awesome to me. So, no, on a more serious note, I think that's killer, though. I love just the design. I love how they're taking chances, and they're going to make it I mean, just a showpiece. I was talking to my dad about this this afternoon. From all we've heard so far, it looks like the land might be a little bit cheaper, a little bit more easier to work with, might cost less money in Newport. So maybe your dollar goes a little bit further. My thought was, if you can build a monument to soccer in Newport versus just an okay, good, but not amazing thing in Cincinnati, I'd rather build the monument. I'd rather build something that's going to turn heads and draw people in. I mean, people still go to Red Bull Arena because it's gorgeous, it's trend-setting in the United States. So if we can build something that's going to take it to another level, might as well do it if it's 200, 300 more yards.
Do we want to talk about the berm?
Oh, man. We can discuss. I mean, it's a part of it.
Are we fans? Because my guess is, based on the reaction there from Bry, not a fan of the berm.
Well, the berm is not it could be, but I think that again, that's another thing. This is for discussion, and that's a part of the stadium that that they're talking about. They're originally going to do 25,000 seats. I don't think we mentioned that. Their goal is to do 25,000 seats with the expansion to 30, and they're talking about the berm being the side where they can put that extra 5,000 seats in the future. If they do it artistically, though, I think it could be great. Let's talk about this. If you do a hill, you might sell some seats. You could get families there. I think another thing that you could utilize is what's above the berm. If you imagine a whole, what they're talking about, I guess that would be the north side of the stadium. If you're in Newport looking towards the city, you imagine doing some bars, some, restaurant seating, beer gardens, and capture some sort of German history or heritage around that berm or on top of that berm. I think that could be pretty cool. So it just matters what they do with it versus just being a hill or an empty void in the stadium, which unfortunately we have too much of in MLS.
So that leads me to what I'm most excited about the stadium is that those surrounding areas. So I think you said it right, Brad, is that space has the potential to be incredibly awesome, but it's dependent on exactly how it's allocated. But it brings me to my point of my favorite part about the layout, favorite part of seeing that design is the way, nothing to do with the stadium, in fact. The way the stadium was allocated as far as outside, having sort of, and I hate to give Cubs fans any props as a Reds fan, but like a Wrigleyville style where there's more to the stadium than or more to the area than just the stadium. So places that'll be open and near the stadium constantly that you can visit, restaurants, bars. I mean, Jeff Birding went on the Moorline Lager House show today talking about his plans from everything up to, or everything as small as a family movie night to, everything as big as USA Mexico, but whether it's the berm, whether it's the plaza, I think there's going to be the way I like the stadium set up is that there's more to it than just soccer. And if it's used properly, there's going to be more to be, more revenue to be had, more fun to be had, and more use to be had, and more money for your tax dollars.
The good news is, look, this is it's a work in progress. Nothing has been settled. Nothing has been finalized. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of bargaining amongst the front office of FC Cincinnati and the local governments. So for all of you who are up in arms over the stadium location, nothing is set in stone yet. All right, so just take a chill pill. But I do think that this feedback is valuable to FC Cincinnati. And from what I understand, there's going to be a survey that's going to be sent out to season ticket holders here very shortly. So if you do get that, make sure you have your say and let the folks at FC Cincinnati know how you feel. Of course, we want to know how you feel. about the stadium design, the stadium location, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. You can always follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and our email address is feedback@CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Believe it or not, there are some matches to get to. So let's start with the U.S. Open Cup Wednesday night against the Crew. Again, for a more in-depth preview of that match, go check out March to Match Day. You can find it in our 5 Things to Know article over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com or in the podcast feed. Brian and Joseph did a good job breaking down that matchup. So why don't we just go ahead and do a score prediction for the Crew game? Brad, I know you're a Crew supporter as well. Well, sort of. Maybe you previously have been. What's going to happen Wednesday night?
I think it was for the benefit of this podcast that I wasn't on, that my computer had some issues early, because I'm just not feeling it. They talk about making progress, and I'm just, there's what they say and what we're seeing on the pitch. So I think if we roll out with that 4-3-3, we're going to be doomed again. And so if we do a 4-3-3 tomorrow, I think it's going to be 3-1, 4-1 Crew. If maybe we do something 3-5-2 or something, maybe we have a chance.
So Brad's not feeling it. How about you, Joseph?
So I want to thank you, Brian, for not making me give a score prediction on March to Match Day, which everyone should check out. I don't think anybody's. My feelings are the same as Brad. I think that there's a chance that this game will be competitive. I think FCC can hold their own for some sort of time, but the circumstances surrounding the match, I think Crew SC 1 is going to take more overall just interest in the Open Cup this year than they have traditionally in the past. And considering the circumstances of it being FCC against them, I think we're going to see some players on the pitch, whether it be Miram or Kamara or Higuain. I mean, not all. I wouldn't say expect all of them, but I think there are players who are going to get their run out that normally wouldn't have if it wasn't this opponent. If you're going to really trouble me for a number, can I just leave it at it? It's not going to make people happy. I don't think it'll be I think it'll be a competitive match, but once the floodgates open, I think Crew will take us out. So
basically what Joseph is saying without saying it is that it's going to be a bloodbath. Although he did say it was going to be competitive. And you know what? I'm not going to make you say a score, but I'll just leave it at that.
How am I to do it?
Well, that's because you're a waggle. Brian, what about you?
Strong shoulders, dude. We got strong shoulders. These colors don't bleed, boys. Come on now. We got to go big. We got to go home. Got to go hard here. I think Coach Koch is going to come out, basically go over. Who cares if he gets sent off right away? I think he's going to go over and slap Berhalter in the face and say, "No, y'all stink. Get out of here. We're going to go and take it. We're going to win the Hell is Real Derby." I got this awesome Punxsutawney Phil Groundhog's Day, lucky quarter here. Flipped it, came up heads. Groundhog's not seen his shadow. FC Cincinnati is going to go big, go home, and we're going to win this thing, boys. We're going to take it home and show Columbus who the daddy is. Hey, I'm just saying, Ken Hedger, I'm going to call him the Orange and Blue Oracle himself. Every time he's picked a loss, we've had good results, and he picked a loss for tomorrow night, so maybe you got a point. Who's your daddy, Columbus? Who is your daddy? That's all I got to say.
Oh, wow. Oh, how do I follow that?
Real quick, Brian, how many fines are we going to get for not saying Crew SC every time?
That's a $16 fine every time.
We probably racked them up. Are you that whipped right now that you think you're going to get affected by Crew? Man, these guys are old. They're old news. It's FC Cincinnati. It's blue and orange, baby. Let's go. Come on now. Stop worrying about that.
What is this fine you speak of? Because
well, if you don't refer to them properly, it's a well-known fact that Erica Crest fines you $16. So when Lucy finds that bill, Brian, in your mailbox, then we'll reassess the situation. But apparently it's very serious that it's Crew SC. It's not a serious thing, but.
No, it's completely ridiculous. Maybe if they went back to the Crew, they could get fans.
Maybe. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't said Crew SC once tonight. I don't think so. I don't care.
They're 6,000 behind us on average. Brian's got a point.
Oh,
I'm gonna get slapped around again, aren't
if I had to give a look, here's the thing,
dude. They're gonna have they're gonna probably have more fans here than they typically do in the Nordecke. I'm just saying. Their largest traveling group outside of an MLS Cup was 160 fans. Big supporters there.
Wow. Okay, so I'd like
just
to
went
make
off
a
the
prediction.
ledge.
Here's the thing. So this is no doubt that this is a big game for FC Cincinnati. A chance to knock off your in-state rival, a chance to showcase Cincinnati as being an MLS-ready environment, an MLS-ready city. But the bigger picture here is Charleston this weekend. They need points. They need them bad.
Wrong.
Why am I wrong? They are right now. They are a borderline playoff team, Brad. They need points.
Dude, I'm just saying.
And if they win this game, what is the likelihood that they're going to continue in the Open Cup? It's not likely.
Who cares? Who cares, dude? You know, the reason why they're having this match here at Nippert anyways, because we all know that the Columbus Crew fans want to play in front of like a professional crowd. So, but we're playing the Battery. We're playing the Battery this weekend. We're probably going to lose anyways. So I just say we give this a go for broke. This is huge. This is I don't want to say once in a lifetime, but it's a huge event for this city. We're going to get 25,000 people or more on a Wednesday night. This is important. This is Major League. We need to give it a swing. You don't get many of these chances.
No, and I agree with that. And I'm not saying they shouldn't take a swing at it, but what I'm saying is we've kind of talked about it the last few weeks. Do you play GB and Koenig at the same time? I don't see that happening now because they're going to need one of those guys for Saturday against Charleston. You can't play them. You can't play them both. That's just my take. Do I want to see them beat the Crew? Absolutely. I just personally don't see it happening. And I've never. Here's the thing: I have never ever picked FC Cincinnati to lose on the show. Not one time. But it's. I just don't see it. I want them to win, but I don't see it. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 loss.
Sam Castile here. Sorry to cut you off there. Sam Castile says it's like OSU v. crappy state up north. You can lose every game of the season, but if you win that game, that's all anybody will care about and remember. Exactly. Muck Fishigan.
Well, thank you for saying it correctly. Yeah, look, I want them to win. That's my. And by the way, I have been horrible, absolutely dreadful this year at picking results. So maybe this is a good thing. I've been wrong all year, so hopefully I'm wrong Wednesday night. Right, guys?
First.
Yeah, this game does not count towards the Growler Cup standings, so don't even gloat on that. What's in store, Bri, for March to Match Day? We've got Charleston coming up.
Well, honestly, I'm going to wait till after we play versus Columbus to record normally, so that'll probably be out Friday, I'm assuming. It's going to be a solo effort. I think it's fair to see how we run out and who we play before giving a preview of that match. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I think Charleston could be without Romario Williams. He's playing for Jamaica tonight in Peru. So interested to see when he gets back into Charleston, trains, and if he does indeed make the bus trip up to Cincinnati. So I'm not sure we'll see their best player, which would be a good thing for us.
It would be a good thing. So why don't we do some score predictions for a Growler Cup match that actually counts for the standings? Joseph, we know that Brian likes to brag that he's at the top of the leaderboard. And gosh, after the year he had last year, can you really blame the guy? But we do know that Dave Tangler is up there. Who are some of the other leaders fighting for the Growler Cup this year?
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna try to. I know we have our resident accountant, Boston Brazel. I'm gonna see if he can fudge the numbers and see if we can get maybe some extra points here and there. Maybe there are some score lines I missed. Who knows? I'm not perfect. Anything to keep Brian out of first place. But beyond, of course, Dave and Brian, Matt Adamczyk and John Davidson have been strong all season. I'm pulling up the standings right now, but those are the top 4, and there's just such a logjam of people once you get past like 5th place. It's still, there's still enough time that you can kind of brag and beat your friends, especially if it's Nick. I mean, if I recall, your mom meeting you, is that right?
I know Mama Subs is kicking my butt this year.
We need a
to
sound
her.
effect for that.
And I'm good. That's the nice thing about controlling the show is I get to play the sound effects and don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But yeah, Mom's beating me. Yeah, rough year for the old Subs in the Growler Cup. So let's pick them for this weekend. Charleston, Joseph, I'll start with you. How's it going to go down?
I'll hope for a 1-1. You know, one thing I saw is I saw one of our colleagues, Nipun Chopra, hope I'm not butchering his name, but pick an upset, in fact, for FCC.
Cup set.
Yeah.
A cup set.
So I'm hoping for some points out of this. I mean, Charleston's been a powerhouse in the East. They're averaging more than 2 points per match played. So I really, you know, everything inside me tells me that this is a loss, but I'm going to hold out hope for a 1-1 draw here.
All right. How about you, Brian?
1-1. I agree with Joseph. Not sure what we're going to do. I hope we put our eggs in the basket of Columbus Crew, and if we can get 1 versus Charleston, good for us. If we can get 3 points, woo, baby. But yeah, 1-1.
How about you, Brad?
2-0 Charleston.
Oh,
Saw that coming.
Dude, I'm just not feeling it.
Explain it.
They just. We don't have. If we continue to be stubborn and play this 4-3-3, it's simply just not going to work. We don't have any guys in the box to cross it to. You know, Jimmy busting his butt up the left side to get balls in there. And there's nobody there. You know, I've been defending Koch and his tactics, but you know, at what point does it become he's going to be stubborn and just, you know, waste away this year playing his formation, or is he going to coalesce and realize what types of players he has and change his formation to fit this team? And right now we've played 15 games and we've scored 2 goals or more twice. That is completely unacceptable. And something needs to happen. We can't keep saying trust the process. That's just garbage. The process isn't working. The players look unhappy on the pitch. They don't look like they're having fun. And we've brought in tons of players, so we're spending the money. I have confidence in Jeff Birding. I don't have confidence in the coaching staff. And it's showing on the field. And so until then, I'm going to pull Ken Hacker and keep picking losses.
All right. Well, speaking of cup sets right now, Christos FC, a liquor store soccer team, is currently tied 1-1 with the mighty DC United of MLS. So crazier things have happened in the Open Cup. Brad went for a 2-0 loss. Brian and Joseph both went for a 1-1. Yep, I'm going to do it again. I'm going for a 1-0 loss, FC Cincinnati, over the weekend against Charleston. I got to change things up. I've got to change my fortunes. And again, as I said, I've been wrong all year. So this is a good thing that I'm picking a loss for FC Cincinnati on Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff at Nippert Stadium. Love to hear from you. And again, if you want to be involved in the Growler Cup competition like Dave Tangler and Matt Adamczyk and John Davidson and, yes, even Mama Subs, go support the show. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. That's how you can get involved. Your support helps go a long way in making the show a lot better from a technical standpoint, getting some better equipment so that guys like Brad Weigel don't get flustered in the middle of a show, that sort of thing. I'm just teasing, of course, Brad.
Hey, man, I was ready.
I think your face is as red as your hair at one point.
Oh, dude, I was upset.
No, but we're glad.
I was as hot as them players are going to be on that 90-degree pitch tomorrow night.
It's going to be a hot one for sure. Again, big thanks to everybody who supported us. Again, if you want to help support the show, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. We did not have an episode captain this week, but if you want to wear the armband for an episode, Again, that's website CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. And again, foot golf. Man, it is going to be coming up quickly. Get registered. How many teams do we have registered right now, Brad?
We are at, I believe we're at 10 now. So we got a spot this year for 36 teams. Last year we had spots for 18. So it's really filling up fast. I've sent emails to a lot of people, so I know that they're going to be getting their teams together over the next 2.5 months. But it's going to be a great event. I want to thank George Joseph and the Joseph Auto Group for stepping up again to help make this going to be a great event. As well as all the SGs. It's going to be a great time. Talk to FC Cincinnati. They're going to have players there. Love to have just a whole group out to benefit sports games for kids. We saw a huge crowd on the the south side of the stadium this past week. It's just a great group. They bring kids from Children's Hospital, the families who are extended stays, children's homes. They take care of parking, food, shirts, tickets, all that. So it's a great time. And I really want to pack this with 36 teams this year over at Woodland. Then we'll head over to the public house for a little bit of fun after that. So sign up now.
Yep, foot golf. That event is August 26th at Woodland Golf Course. To get your foursome registered today, log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/footgolf. That's one word. It's $180 for a foursome right now. That price will go up, though, on July 1st. So make sure you get your team registered. Was it July 1st or August 1st? I think it might have been August 1st. I probably was incorrect in saying that.
August 1st.
Yeah.
August 1st.
August 1st. That price will go up to $200 per foursome. So again, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/footgolf. All right, time to wrap things up here on episode 69 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Got any final thoughts, Yosef Sagai?
Yeah, 69 episodes. Been a nice episode. Glad Kenney Walker came on again, fitting considering the circumstances of him being an Ohio resident. I know he won't ever listen to this because he's really more of a basketball guy, but I did want to give a shout out to Columbus shitlord Morgan Hughes and tell him to delete his account. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cursing. My bad.
Well, I'm guessing going to edit that one.
I've lasted longer than that's my first slip up in 69 episodes plus some March to Match Day. So I apologize.
But Waggle's rubbing off on you.
Yeah. I thought it'd be me the first one to break. But my point remains valid, and he should still delete his account.
All right. Good stuff, Yosef. Glad to have you back this week. Final thoughts, Brad Waggle.
We have a great opportunity tomorrow night to show off to MLS. And, we are being realistic. We are the underdogs. I believe that our team's not playing up to its ability. We got a great team coming in, but it's important that the entire supporters keep going all 90 minutes. We got, the eyes are on us. And if we really want to go to that next level, all 25,000 need to be loud for all 90 minutes. So just want to part that on everybody. And then hell is real. And hopefully we get to the quarterfinals.
All right. Last but not least, we'll go over to the other twin, Brian Weigel. Your final thoughts here on episode 69?
Show up this week, all the games that we can. Also, there's a Cincinnati Dutch Lions match at Gettler Stadium, 4:00 on Saturday. So if you can go to that as well, please do, right before the FC Cincinnati game. Leave you with these words: hell is real, gingers have no souls, and we are going to beat Crew SC Cruisers United Wednesday night. Boom.
We'll show them who's the real professional team in Ohio.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
All right.
Their
People
words.
are going to hate us. I love it.
My final thoughts is it is a big week for FC Cincinnati. The game will be televised across the state on Spectrum. Of course, I don't get that channel here on DirecTV up in Northwest Ohio. So I'm hoping maybe there will be some sort of stream available.
US Soccer, ussoccer.com.
Hopefully it's better than the last one. Again, I don't want to sound like a complete Debbie Downer here on the show, but I got to change my fortunes, and so do FC Cincinnati. They keep dropping points at home. Big game on Wednesday night. I hope that they can pull it off. But more importantly, I want to see the stadium packed. I want to see everybody getting loud and supporting this team because this is a big deal with everything going on with the stadium renderings that were announced last night, with the Crew coming to town, with Charleston coming to town. This is a big week for FC Cincinnati, arguably the biggest week of their entire season. Is everything riding on this week? No, but it is a massive, massive week for the club, and just really excited to be a part of it and to cover it here at our website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. If you got a moment, make sure you go check out Brian's article. He wrote a great piece last week regarding fans from the Crew coming to the game, which got a significant amount of feedback, and I'll just leave it at that. Again, check that out over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Yes, Joseph, I am daring to be massive. You like that? I just used the Crew's phrase.
Oh,
I feel sick, and I need to go take a shower. On that note, it's time to get out of here. My thanks to Kenney Walker from FC Cincinnati for joining us this week on the podcast. Of course, help support the show, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. So for Brad Weigel, Brian Weigel, Joseph Sagai, I'm Subes, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we will catch up with you next week.